As far as raw combat stats go, the Glade Dragon is the weakest of the dragons that you can take individually as a unit, but does make up for that with a little bit of specialty abilities here. This replay sent in by Luthien. We've got Wood Elves versus High Elves, so let's go over the builds real quick. Glade Lord, or Spellweaver even, with high magic. Very nice with a Glade Captain here. We've got some Deepwood Scouts up front, Glade Riders, some Spears as well, Eternal Guards with shields. Looks like one Starfire Shaft, the Glade Dragon for the High Elf side, techless, and a Flamespire Phoenix, Silver Helms with shields, plenty of Lothern Sea Guard also with shields, and some Spearmen as well, so plenty anti-large, plenty of range pressure, plenty of shields, all good things against Wood Elves. But getting back to the Glade Dragon here, unfortunately we don't have any High Elven dragons to compare directly in battle. We'll get to that at the end, but if we were to have any here, we'd see that the Forest Dragon at 1800 points is 100 points more expensive than the Sun Dragon, but does have slightly less weapon strength, and attack and defense. Charge bonus of 60 is pretty good for a dragon. It's definitely on the higher end, meaning that this is a more charge-oriented dragon than others, but what helps set the Glade Dragon apart from some of its cousins is, of course, the sweet antlers, and I have to say, after they updated the texture on this guy here, it looks better than ever. Also, poison magic damage on his melee attack, and I believe the breath attack also counts as poison magic damage. We'll check on that in just a minute. And physical resistance of 20%, which does give him effective 45% resistance against non-magical missiles. So, for example, these Lothern Sea Guards shooting attacks will deal significantly less. Only 50 armor, though, is, I believe, the lowest base armor. Maybe, I want to say the Sun Dragon has 60 armor, so I believe that's correct. But anyway, a little bit of skirmishing back and forth here. Lothern Sea Guards and Deepwood Scouts just kind of poking each other. Deepwood Scouts here, though, get some really nice cost-effective volleys on this Flamespire Phoenix. Flamespire Phoenix, only 30 armor, taking the brunt of that damage. Wardens of Kithrel, Regiment of Renown, not Deepwood Scouts, Wildwood Rangers are here. They're going to take a charge from those Silver Helms, but once they stand up and start to punch back, they're going to do a lot of damage. Also have armor sundering, so the Silver Helms going down to 60 armor. The attacks of these Deepwood Scouts will then deal more damage, so nice little engagement there, a little bit of a heal on something. I think maybe on those Deepwood Scouts or the Wardens of Kithrel, actually. Getting back to the Glade Dragon, Forest Dragon, I guess, technically. I've been calling it Glade Dragon, but also has 90 speed, which is pretty good for a dragon. Leadership is also serviceable, but the main thing really is the physical resistance and magic poison damage. The thing about those two effects, though, is that Wood Elves have a lot of sources of magic damage and also poison attacks. Now, interestingly enough, Luthien, the High Elf player here, really nice Soul Quench, just ripping apart that column Lothern Sea Guard as these players continue to kind of skirmish back and forth. Yeah, I've totally lost my train of thought. But the Glade Dragon, so yeah, I remember now. Poison and magic damage, yeah, so not Swift Shiver Shards, Hagbane Tips, which there are none here on these Glade Riders, or, this Starfire Shaft is also, obviously, Starfire Shaft, not Hagbane Tips. Hagbane Tips deal magic damage and also deal poison, and given the kind of commonness of those units in various matchups, and pretty much all Wood Elf matchups, it's not like this is really that great. I mean, it certainly can be. If you don't have those tools, like in this situation, then it's some way for you to get poison, and if we potentially squares off against some other single entities, could be pretty decent. The magic damage is nice in these situations, but again, like all of your Forest Spirit units, and even like this Glade Captain here has magic damage on her bow, right? So it's not like it's a super uncommon trait. The physical resistance is pretty nice as well. Another beautiful Soul Quench there from the High Spellweaver. But given that Wood Elves have a lot of units, especially high value kind of key win condition type units that have physical resistance, you're basically like handicapping yourself if you don't take magic damage against Wood Elves. It's very, very common for people to do so. So the physical resistance sometimes doesn't matter all that much. Net of Ammontalk, though, Enfeebling Foe dropped here as the Silver Helms kind of fight in melee along with Techless himself. Spearman also moving in. The Spellweaver and the Glade Captain rushing to the aid of the big boy. So far, it's taking a lot of damage, but a little Apotheosis helps him sustain. Starting to get some kills in value. Those Silver Helms very quickly rout due to terror and the rear charges. And yeah, as the rest goes, there's kind of a little bit of... What are you guys shooting at over here? Are you trying to shoot that Phoenix and just having the shots go way wide? Now, the fire damage is going to do basically nothing here. The Phoenix does have very heavy fire resistance. Maybe not very heavy. I want to say it's like 25%. If we can look here, 70. Oh, yeah. So those attacks from the Starfire Shafts are basically doing nothing. But the Deepwood Scout's definitely doing some pretty good damage. Another nice Soul Quench hitting the side of those Spearmen. Pretty long battle so far, just a lot of skirmishing back and forth. You'd expect Wood Elves and High Elves to just shoot each other. But now, Forest Dragon can start to take advantage of its breath attacks, which is obviously one of the main benefits. And this is beautiful placement, just tears apart 2 units of Sea Guards. And the breath attacks, obviously, I've talked about this a little bit before in some videos back when they made changes relating to the mass changes and the attack and defense profile of a lot of higher tier monsters. The thing about dragons is you really, these days, you have to get value from their breaths for them to pay for themselves, and that was a really good start. You can see up to 56 kills as we watch in melee here. Forest Dragon getting poked by these Lothern Sea Guard. Physical resistance helps, but oof, nasty little matched animation there. That Sea Guard had the worst day he's ever had, and obviously that unit is going to get terrified having seen that befall their brother. So... maybe sister. To be honest, I shouldn't assume. They are elves after all. Anyway, Blade Captain's coming back here. Unfortunately, the Spellweaver does get kind of torn up in that blob. Silver Helm's finishing her off, so the Lord goes down here. No more healing available for the Glade Dragon, so it's got to be careful taking too much damage. At this point, though, a lot of the Lothern Sea Guard have been dealt with, and they were one of the main dangers. There are still 2 healthy-ish units. One more kind of tattered unit over here. Let's see what they do. Kind of a big old wide engagement all over the map at this point. Another breath attack, just finishing more or less this Lothern Sea Guard. They might still hang in the fight there, but combat effectiveness more or less gone. And charging the other one in the distance there. Meanwhile, here in the center, just a big old spear fight. Deepwood Scouts are starting to run out of ammunition too. This one now moving into melee, kind of getting some little side attacks here on both units of Spearmen. Silverhelm's having a harder time finding targets. Luthien's doing a good job of kind of actively defending here with his spears, keeping up the pressure, not allowing them to fire. Over here as well, a little bit of a blunder by the High Elf player. Luthien's able to get in and just tie down these Lothern Sea Guard with the Eternal Guard there. Very nicely done. The Dragon, though, even still, is just struggling to finish off these 2 units of Sea Guards. We do have a look, though, at its value. I mean, already 1,000 damage value, so more than halfway paid for itself. Let's see if it can hang around into the late game. A little bit of Flock of Doom from Teclis there. Upgraded to do a lot of damage to this spear line. Definitely kind of contribute a little bit of DPS since the spearmen themselves don't really have much. But now, Dragon comes down, lands on Teclis. I don't know, it counts as a Forest Spirit, but it doesn't have Strider, so I would need to do some testing to see if it actually gets the Forest bonuses that Wood Elves are supposed to get. A little bit of Flickering Shadows there, but this is a bad day for Teclis. He actually does punch the Dragon back reasonably well. Teclis only has 280 weapon strength base, so with Poison he goes down to 220, just absolutely abysmal weapon strength. Literally wet noodle slapping, but... Back up and around, another breath attack used, so that is the last breath attack, puts it up to 116 kills, 1,800 damage value, so just that damage on Teclis alone, and that extra breath attack did put it over the top, has officially paid for itself, but can the Wood Elves actually win, is the question. Nice, what is that, Fiery Convocation bound from Teclis. Unfortunately, could have maybe got a better placement there, but the Dragon rear charge now starts to cause a tear route in the High Elf Spearmen. Those other Silverin Guard routing away as well. This is a good rear charge here, though, from this Frostdart Phoenix. It does deal magic damage, so we'll cut through that. Physical resistance. Forest Dragon turns around. And, yeah, let's see. Right now, just going straight in for Teclis. It looks like Teclis trying to heal himself. Potion of Troy and Regrowth both active, so the Dragon going to turn away, perhaps. Turns to fight the Phoenix. Phoenix, though, getting a couple more attacks here, so things are super close, but it has just enough weapon strength to finish the Phoenix in a blow there. Down to only 330 HP, might rout, unlikely to come back, we'll see, but certainly has done quite a bit of work. Yeah, 127 kills, awesome value, 2,000 damage value. Really good stuff. Let's see, though, still a very close battle. The Glade Captain kind of keeping her forces in line here. She's completely out of ammo, but is certainly a good enough melee combatant to take Teclis on. Granted, he does still have martial prowess active after all that healing. 40 melee defense, not the worst for a caster. She's got 50 attack plus the anti-large, plus 45 charge bonus, so on the charge can definitely get some damage. But this is dangerous with the support of these Sea Guards. Arguably not a great engagement for her, a little bit of a net. Teclis then charges in using his own 35 charge bonus, which is really not a lot, but let's see. We'll keep the health bars up as we keep these two in view. Very pitched kind of late game duel here. Did the dragon come back? I doubt it. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that thing's done for the day, but that's okay. Sea Guards are mostly neutralized. They've still got a handful of tattered Sea Guards left, and now Teclis realizes with the bulk of the Wood Elf Spearmen now pushing from the forest out into the open plain, having been victorious, suddenly the support situation will turn around and Teclis has to flee the field. Oh man, why'd you have to do that to that Warden, though? I mean, he did nothing to you, Blade Captain. Anyway. Sea Guards trying to pull back to utilize the last of their ammunition. It's going to be a rough situation. You take a look here. The Glade Guard Starfire Shaft's coming back, so we'll fast forward somewhat through this late game cleanup. The Glade Riders and Glade Guard move in, able to get some of those Sea Guards in melee, chase them off. Meanwhile, Teclis rallies with his own spears over here to finish off a handful of tattered Wood Elves. Glade Guard, Eternal Guard going down. Both players trying to clean up their respective areas, but Wood Elves, definitely a stronger presence left with that Blade Captain. And, you know, also having this Cavalry as well, which does have a pretty good amount of ammunition, although they actually just die to the Sea Guards there. And the Glade Captain has to come in for the late game side charge cleanup. And Sea Guards is such a cool unit. Interesting thing to note about Sea Guards, the shields actually do make them slower. I think it's maybe the only unit where the shield upgrade actually makes them slower. They go from like 33, oh no, they're 33. I think they go from like 36 to 33, something like that. Doesn't make that much of a difference, but it can in this particular matchup where Eternal Guards are actually 33 speed. So if you don't take the shields, I mean, you are sacrificing missile block chance, but it means you can get away from the Wood Elf infantry a little bit easier. Teclis charges in, though, and the Wardens of Kithral, I mean, they are very elite, kind of light spearman unit, excellent stats. He definitely can't hang with them, and quickly routes. So, very well played to Luthien and Malithas both. Fun game, and I have to say, good performance there by the Glade Dragon. It's not always easy to make dragons work these days. You definitely have to be on top of your micro, and like I said, use those breath attacks. Really nice breath attacks there from Luthien going after... definitely a win condition unit. I mean, there are 5 of them that you have to neutralize, but Lothar and Sea Guard are quite good in this matchup, so just getting rid of the bulk of their numbers through breath attacks is absolutely a viable strategy, and definitely paid for the dragon. Yeah, not too much magic damage here either from the High Elves, a little bit from the Flamespire Phoenix, but like Alarielle is a lot more of a common pick in this matchup, and her giving her magic damage to all these Sea Guards as they shoot up in the air definitely would have been a bit more effective against the Forest Dragon, but hey, it's all good. Nice to see Horse Teclis sometimes. Deepwood Scouts also contributing quite nicely. I'm a huge fan of Deepwood Scouts right now. The Starfire Shafts, interestingly enough, do get quite a bit of value. Probably shooting the Silver Helms, I would imagine. Wardens of Kithral also helping hold the line. Eternal Guards also played pretty decently, honestly. Very cost-effective for the most part. Glade Captain, 1800 damage value exactly. Nice even number. And Spellweaver, some good damage with those Soul Quenches, but also getting absolutely canned there in the late game. Yeah, High Elf side. Silver Helm's a little bit of a mixed bag, but largely pretty good. The Lothar and Sea Guard do mostly pay for themselves. Only one does not. I guess, yeah, that one barely also does not, but still. Solid performance overall. Teclis does okay. It was pretty close at the end of the day, but just the Phoenix, not quite enough of what you need. And, I mean... yeah, just a little bit short on some various areas here in terms of damage output, but also some of that comes down to the healing as well. But anyway, just to quickly finish up with some dragon comparisons. So, like I said, the Forest Dragon, cheaper than the Moon Dragon or the Star Dragon, but looking at the stats here, you can see that the Sun Dragon's just straight up more defense, more charge, more weapon strength, more armor, more leadership, more speed. Obviously, doesn't have the magic and poison and physical resistance, so that's kind of what you're paying for there with that extra 100 points, which it's arguable whether it's better to have one or the other. I mean, definitely the physical resistance helps in a lot of situations. I think that's probably the biggest upside. These other traits are more just kind of bonuses than anything else, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely the weakest. You compare it to any of these other dragons, and obviously the Moon Dragon, Star Dragon, you would expect, but like even the Moon Dragon, only 200 points more expensive, almost 1,000 more HP, 10 more armor, 10 more leadership, 4 more attack, 10 more defense, 80 more weapon strength, 10 less charge, but that doesn't really make up for everything that it's lost. Of course, you know, physical resistance as well and so forth. But even like Black Dragon, 300 points more expensive, definitely shows just in every way is better. Other than, again, the charge bonus and the physical resistance. So, Forest Dragon, a little bit of a micro-intensive piece, but considering that a lot of people don't really... I mean, I guess they do expect flying missile units against Wood Elves, potentially. Depends on who you're playing, but... You know, the Forest Dragon definitely can be a good option if you're up against a faction which tends to bring a lot of those, like, ranged units or hordes of archers or whatever, being able to just counter-shoot them with the Forest Dragon and quickly delete a few units, especially side-shotting like that. Definitely generates some pretty good value. It is a risky investment, though. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. See you next time.